All right, so first play we're going to look at, 2nd and 2, one of the Patriots' first offensive plays.
Oh my God.
What's going on, everyone? Mike Kadlick, Taylor Kyles here for CLNS Media, outside of Gillette Stadium, among the fans, among the tailgaters here for a live Patriots Daily pregame show ahead of Patriots versus Panthers here, 1 p.m. kickoff, powered by our friends at Prize Picks and Game Time. We'll talk about them a little bit later. But Taylor, a beautiful day for some football. We will react to Inactives when they come at 11:30 in just about 12 minutes. We'll start with some storylines regarding this Patriots game. The main one, Christian Gonzalez. Looks like he will be back, ready to go. Tet McMillan and Chuba Hubbard on the other side. Offensive weapons looking like they're ready to go as well. So relatively full strength for both of these teams, at least on the important positions on both sides of the football. Now, no Jared Wilson for the Patriots. But overall, what are you looking for in this game? What does Gonzo being back mean to you? And what are you looking for with him and Tet McMillan in that sort of 1-2 matchup there, offense and defense?
Yeah, I think Christian Gonzalez back means that this team can go back to dictating matchups. Yep. Obviously, Christian Gonzalez is the kind of guy you can put on just about any receiver. We've seen him against the big guys like DK Metcalf. We've seen him against Tyreek Hill. This specific week, I was talking about it. If you wanted to sit Christian Gonzalez out one more week, this might have been the one to do it, because Tet McMillan, very talented player, but doesn't quite have the explosiveness that I think really would threaten Christian Gonzalez. But that's just better news for the Patriots, because Gonzo is back. I'd expect him to shadow Tet McMillan, but at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if these guys stick to sides and give Carlton Davis some cracks as well, because again, Tet doesn't quite have that vertical speed. So this is a game that I think the Patriots, with the Panthers having so many guys out, Jatavian Sanders, another rookie who's second in receiving yards, is going to be out. No Xavier Legette. Jalen Coker is on injured reserve. And they don't even have Robert Hunt, one of their best offensive linemen. Still got some good tackles on both sides. But this is a banged-up Panthers offense. This is a Patriots defense that's starting to get healthier. We already saw how dominant they could look last week against a passing offense that doesn't really push the ball downfield. Bryce Young's tried to do that. They don't really have the ammo. So this game, I'm playing as much man coverage as possible, saying, hey, I dare your guys to beat us one-on-one, because I'm not so sure they can. And then the pass rush, also hoping that the coverage is going to allow them to get more time, because last week felt like the pass rush didn't exist because Aaron Rodgers was throwing just so quickly.
Right, yeah. Another storyline here for the Patriots, the wide receiver position. Now, Demario Douglas had a great training camp. Looked like him and Drake May were starting to continue building that rapport, but it just has not worked out through these first 3 games here. The big one was that 4th down stop by Pittsburgh last weekend, where it didn't look like Pop knifed upfield. Now, watching that on replay again, the ball was in a bad spot. We don't have to rehash it here, but
I thought it was fine, honestly. I took the blame away from Drake after watching the replay.
Interesting. Yeah. So Pop doesn't
deserve to take the blame.
DA, hey, you got a game prediction for us at least? 28-17.
Thank you.
David Andrews live on Patriots pregame here on CLNS Media. Shout out David Andrews for dropping by. If anybody else in the parking lot is hanging around, come by, give us your predictions, tell us what you're thinking.
Maybe in a different fashion, but DA gets a pass. He helped build the place.
Yeah, that's okay. Shout out David Andrews there. But on Pop Douglas, on the wide receiver.
Was it Jake Bobo's grandmother that did that last year? She walked by and had a cameo. We're pretty hot.
We're
2
feeling,
for 2 this year going for
feeling
cameos.
upwards. Last year, Jake Bobo's grandmother. This year, Patriots longtime center David Andrews here on the podcast. But wide receiver, back to it. That was awesome.
You're off your train of thought. Pop Douglas,
as we know, hasn't been great so far this season. And Efton Chisholm continues to be an inactive. Now, we'll see if he's back to it this week. But how would you attack the wide receiver position? Is it I've mentioned on the show a few times that it hasn't been one of the Patriots' most glaring problems. Obviously, the turnovers and the offensive line has been okay. But where are you at with wide receiver? Do you think we need to see more? Do you think we need to see Efton Chisholm on the field this week? Or is it just a matter of him, or Drake May, Pop Douglas continue to get on the same page?
I think the biggest issue with the wide receiver position is a lack of opportunities exploited. And really, I think that's more from Drake May and sometimes pressure as well. Because when you look at the tape, and I showed it last week just against man coverage, there are opportunities for shot plays that they're not taking advantage of. You mentioned Demario Douglas. I don't think this is going to be a great week for him. We know Pop is very hard to cover man-to-man. Panthers are going to run a ton of zone, specifically spot drop zone. So I feel like this is going to be more of a Hunter Henry game, an Austin Hooper game. Maybe we also see some Kayshon Boutte on those dig routes where Drake May has been so good hitting him over the middle. And there were some opportunities with Demario Douglas, specifically like some play-action opportunities. They tried to get him involved downfield, and Drake May, obviously one of those plays ended up turning into a turnover-worthy throw. So I don't think we're calling for Efton Chisholm quite yet. I think when you do play those man coverage defenses, places, that's where Pop needs to shine. And if he does have a productive day, I think that's a great step in the right direction for him because, again, in this Josh McDaniels offense, against zone coverage, you're going to have options to beat certain looks that you're going to get. We'll see if DeMario Douglas can take advantage of those and get on the same page with Drake. But again, if we're talking receivers, like for my prize picks, I had Hunter Henry and Kayshon Boutte because I think they are going to be the main guys that we're trying to go to today.
All right, you mentioned prize picks. I do also want to mention our friends at Game Time here real quick before we react to Inactives within the next 10 minutes here. Right now, the get-in price on Game Time is a low $58 right now on the Game Time app. So whether you're in the Gillette Stadium parking lot right now, whether you're local to Foxboro, whether you're here, in the area, you want to get in here on the Game Time app, do it right now. Use code CLNS. You get an additional $20 off your first purchase. Those terms do apply. Again, the get-in price right now is $58. And Taylor mentioned it. We're also powered by our friends over at Prize Picks. The best place to get in on the action with daily fantasy sports right now. It's the best place to do it. As you know, Taylor tweeted out his Prize Picks lineup early on today. So go check that out, see if you want to follow it. Taylor, what were your picks again? Let us know.
So I have more than 214.5 passing yards for Drake May, more than 2.5 receptions for Hunter Henry. That's an absolute steal. More than 1.5 receptions for Kayshon Boutte, hoping a touchdown in there maybe.
Sure.
And more than half an interception for Bryce Young. This is a secondary I think that's going to end up picking on him today. And like Stephon Diggs said earlier this week, turnovers come in bunches, so hopefully we absolutely spam that one.
Love it. We'll see what happens there. We'll see if Taylor can win his Prize Picks lineup tonight. But if you want to get in on that action, download the app, create an account, use that code CLNS. You get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, that's code CLNS. You get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. And as you know, Prize Picks, it's good to be right. All right, we got about 5 minutes here until Inactives come out. One last thing, storyline-wise, on the Patriots is this offensive line. Now, over the last couple seasons, it's been a detriment to this team. It's been a little bit better. It was a little bit better over the course of the last couple weeks. Last week, not so much against that Pittsburgh front. But now we have rookie Jared Wilson out for this game with a lower body injury. That will force Ben Brown into that starting left guard position. Mike Onwenu also questionable. Now we'll see if he doesn't go within the next 5 minutes. I would assume he's out here and plays. But
yeah, Vrabel's kind of downplayed it a little bit. He's like, yeah, we had to put him on there, but didn't sound too worried. And he was a full participant in that last practice.
Right. Now they did also elevate an offensive lineman from the practice squad, Brendan Hymes, I think is his name. I don't know. I don't know if that's how you say his name, but 2 practice squad elevations to the active roster today, one of which was an offensive lineman, so they at least want some depth there. But they have been, their first front 5 have been up there for these last 3 weeks. Now they go with a different combination without Jared Wilson. How do you think that's going to affect them? Are you confident in them stopping the pass rush of Carolina, which when we talked with John Ellis earlier this week, he admitted that pass rush hasn't been great, but the run defense with Derek Brown in the middle has been dominant. So how do you see that matchup on the interior and the exterior too with this Patriots offensive line versus that Carolina front?
Yeah, it all starts with Derek Brown. Now, I don't know if he has quite the same juice that he had before suffering a season-ending injury last year. He only has 3 pressures so far, but he also has grown man strength to absolutely throw guys out of the way in terms of trying to get off blocks. And then in the run game, that's where he's really dominant. Not only does he take up space, but again, that grown man strength shows up when he's shedding blocks and trying to get to ball carriers. So you got to make sure that you have concentrated double teams on him if you're even thinking of running his way. That said, I think the Patriots are really going to try to get to their edges. That's going to put a lot of pressure on Will Campbell, Morgan Moses, who's done very well as a run blocker. Campbell's been a bit more inconsistent, but there's potential there. So you really want to try to collapse those edges and run off tackle or outside the tackles in this game. Now, in terms of Ben Brown being in the lineup, in pass protection, I actually think that there were some solid moments between him and Will Campbell. Remember, Ben Brown was rotating with Jared Wilson towards the mid to late summer before really Jared Wilson solidified that spot. So we've at least seen those two working together. The run game has been inconsistent when we saw Campbell and Ben Brown together, but the highs were very high. It produced, I think, at least 2 or 3 touchdowns in the preseason. So we'll see how it works against obviously much better competition. These are actual starters they're going to face. And over on the right side, Mike Onwenu, I'd like to see him be more consistent. That's kind of been my big thing through the first few games, but I still think he and Morgan Moses should be able to hold up pretty well. On the edges, I will say Princely Umanmielen, the rookie, he's got some juice. So if he ends up lining up against Morgan Moses, I wonder if that creates any problems. But if he lines up against Will Campbell, I'm more confident in that matchup. But yeah, Ben Brown, at least it's someone who has experience with this unit between Garrett Bradbury and Will Campbell, a guy who I did like what I saw from him for the most part in pass pro. Run blocking has been up and down, and it's been up and down for the Patriots as well. So we'll see if they're able to continue to build some kind of positive momentum as they've done the past 2 weeks while also dealing with some issues.
Last thing here, the elephant in the room, the 5 turnovers that cost the Patriots the game last week against Pittsburgh. Mike Vrabel was asked about it all week, continued to back Ramondre Stevenson, say that it's not just on the running back, but it's an entire, the entire team is involved on whether you turn the football over or not. The blocks have to be right. The quarterback has to make the right decision, etc. And continued to back Ramondre Stevenson, mentioned that he won't be disciplined for his 2 fumbles last week. But as we know, Ramondre had the fumbles last year, started this season strong, but then coughs it up twice last week. Whether it was his fault or not, he coughed up the ball twice, and that can't happen. It sounds like he will. I don't know. It doesn't really matter if he starts the game, but it sounds like Mike Vrabel mentioned that they're going to continue to use him because they need him in that running back room. So where are you at with Stevenson? What do you expect them? Do you expect him to get a full workload, half workload? How do you think they kind of attack the running back position today? And if he fumbles again, well, you know what? I'm not going to ask that. We're not doing it.
And it also made me feel validated that even Vrabel was like, dude, I'm not going to hypothesize what's going to happen, right? Because that's just the rabbit hole I personally don't want to go down. But I think all of this starts, the ball security, with the blocking up front. That is what Vrabel has said any time this has come up. He acknowledged, yes, the ball carriers have to be better. But when you actually look at the fumbles, it's not 100% on the running backs. The first one, now you could say that was a bit on Ramondre. He's trying to chop the defender's arm down and got punched out from the other side. But Mike and Nwunu missed key blocks on both of Ramondre Stevenson's fumbles. Also had Jared Wilson fall off a block against Cam Hayward, which was a tough assignment. Hayward came from multiple gaps over to punch it out against Ramondre Stevenson, who you could argue on the goal line you may want to have 2 hands on it. But again, another blind side hit, which is usually how these fumbles happen.
Sure.
Antonio Gibson's was probably the most excusable, which, you hate to say for a fumble. But he had 2 hands on the ball, was in the air. Matt Collins isn't able to block Jabril Peppers because of a great effort from the safety, puts his helmet on the ball. I mean, that's literally how you draw it up. That's a great play from the former Patriot. But the offense needs to make sure they are protecting the guy with the football. That's where they start. And, of course, the ball carriers, you don't want them to play too much outside of their comfort zone, right? You still want Ramondre to be someone who's trying to break tackles, who does play to his strengths as a slippery back, but also knowing when the play's over, kind of like Drake May. Know when the down is up, and just to protect the ball, live to fight another down. And Drake May, he fumbled too, and I also appreciated Mike Vrabel being like, well, Drake fumbled, and we're not going to put Josh Dobbs out there. So, obviously it's not the exact same situation, but Drake May also needs to be better. That was not on the pass blocking. That was more on Drake just trying to do too much. But in the run game specifically, it's up to the offensive line to make sure that they're not letting these guys just get these hits when they're basically unblocked.
Patriots have been in all 3 games so far this season. You talk about week 1 against the Raiders. They were right there. Throughout the end, they could have won that game. The Miami game, they win. They pull it out. And then they lose last week at home in a 1-possession game after turning the ball over 5 times. So they're right in these games. They just need to learn how to win at home again, because this place, Gillette Stadium behind us, was such a tool for this team within the Brady years. They had a home field advantage here. They were basically keyed in for 8 wins a year here. They need to get back to it. And I think they have a prime position to do that today against this Carolina Panthers team. 2 teams, 1 and 2, Patriots versus Panthers. Again, coming up at 1 p.m. We'll have you covered here throughout the entire game. We're just waiting on Inactives now.
Refresh.
As we refresh our phones. I will say, I just saw an Irving Fryer Patriots jersey, throwback jersey. I usually tweet out my list of best jerseys when I come in. I'll give you guys a sneak peek here of what I've seen so far. A Tim Tebow Patriots jersey.
Oh, wow.
Sony Michel. Adelius Thomas, so 2 busts, which is interesting. Pat Chung, Gunnar Olszewski, and then I saw someone who looked like a high schooler wearing a John Hanna jersey. So that's
badass.
That's badass. That guy knows Patriots history. That's respect. We'll see what else. We have a couple behind us here. I see a number 15. I hope it's not Nelson Aguilar or N'Keal Harry. I think it might be Chris Hogan. I see a number 1. I don't think that is N'Keal Harry either. But you always get
Should
good
we try to guess Inactives here. You want to try to guess Inactives before they actually come out? Let's make a game of it. Okay.
Gonzo was the easy one.
Yeah.
Now that's not going to happen. Jared Wilson.
Efton Chisholm.
You still think they're not going to give Chisholm the chance this week?
Not this week.
Okay.
I don't think this is the week. So Efton Chisholm, Caden Wallace, Tommy DeVito, obviously emergency third quarterback. Is there anybody else?
Here they come. They're here.
Okay.
Patriots Inactives.
Was I right mostly?
Jared Wilson, Caden Wallace, Efton Chisholm, Eric Gregory, Elijah Ponder again, and then Tommy DeVito is your emergency third quarterback. He's inactive as well. So pretty chalk here, I would say. Gregory's been inactive throughout the entire start of the season. A little bit surprised about Caden Wallace, given the fact that they're down a guard and They're down to guard Mike Onwenu, who's dealing with an injury, but they did elevate someone from the practice squad. So, I mean, Caden Wallace is down that depth chart, even though he's on the active roster. They essentially bring someone up off the practice squad, and he passes them on the depth chart. Chisholm's still not getting his chance. Elijah Ponder's been inactive and active the last couple weeks, and then DeVito's obviously. But any initial thoughts there? Anything surprise you from this? And how does it sort of affect their game plan moving forward here?
Well, it's good that Calebon Chaison's active, because we were talking about if he had to miss the game, that'd probably bump Elijah Ponder back into the starting lineup. But we got Calebon Chaison, Anthony Jennings, Keon White, and obviously Harold Landry will be there. So very good for the Patriots edge rush, of course. In terms of Caden Wallace being inactive, I'm not surprised. I do wonder also if they see maybe not Vidarian Lowe, maybe Marcus Bryant being somebody who has guard flexibility. I don't know, just because it would seem kind of weird to put a practice squad guy who just got here into the lineup. I think that's maybe some emergency depth that they would want and someone who has that interior experience. Sure. But I feel like it would make more sense to go with one of your guys, at least give them a shot if something were to happen. Obviously, Ben Bryant also has the center flexibility, so you see how exactly that would work out. But really, those are the only surprises in terms of, the injuries. It was really just Jared Wilson that we thought might not play this game. Mike Onwenu officially active, so that's a great positive for the Patriots as well.
And same with Christian Gonzalez. He's out there. I know we knew he was going to play. It sounded like he was going to play. But now it's officially official. He is active for his first game this week. So exciting stuff there. The Patriots get their best defensive player back. As we know, on the defensive side this week, some unfortunate news, especially with the Crucial Catch game coming up here, or Crucial Catch month. But Terrell Williams diagnosed with prostate cancer, so he is away from the team. Unfortunate stuff. Our prayers here at CLNS, obviously, with Williams and Terrell Williams and his entire family. Zach Core comes in and will be the defensive play caller, really for the foreseeable future. Something that he's been doing now for the last couple weeks. He had to do so over the offseason program when Williams was away with another medical issue there as well. So at least they do have some stability there, at least now with Core as the play caller. But that's kind of what we're looking at on the defense side of the ball. Any thoughts on how that affects their defense and what we got going there?
Really quick, they also, Vinny DePalma is one of their offensive coaching assistants. He has has taken more of a responsibility in the inside linebacker room to help out Zach Core, so that's important. But, I mean, it is obviously unfortunate. There's not a whole lot we can say. We're thinking of Terrell Williams and really hope that he can make the speediest recovery possible. But, I mean, it is continuity for the defense because this will be the third consecutive game. They do have Zach Core calling plays, and I thought he did a really good job. The first game plan, of course, there were some pretty significant issues I had. You could also argue that the first drive against the Pittsburgh Steelers was kind of odd. They had some too deep coverages against a team that you knew was going to run the ball. They didn't really push it downfield, so that was questionable. But he adjusted, and that really wasn't a problem for the rest of the game. So I like what Zach Core has done, and this is going to be, I don't want to say a layup, but again, this is a very banged-up Panthers team where his defense should have a pretty dominant performance.
Don't look ahead to the Buffalo Bills. I know you said
no.
But let's worry about this game. Let's get the Patriots to 2-2 to line up a pretty awesome Sunday Night Football matchup coming up next weekend in Buffalo. But as you know, now we're worried about these Carolina Panthers. Patriots, too, wearing T-Strong shirts supporting Terrell Williams. Really cool to see they're wearing those in warm-ups. So that is our inactives list. That is our pregame show here on the Patriots Daily podcast for CLNS Media. Again, I'll run it through for you guys. Once again, the inactives here for the Patriots are as follows. Wide receiver Efton Chisholm, guard Jared Wilson, guard Caden Wallace, defensive tackle Eric Gregory, outside linebacker Elijah Ponda, and then Tommy DeVito is your emergency third quarterback. So we got a 1 p.m. kickoff coming up here in just over an hour, so make sure you tune in to the game and then also watch our Patriots post-game show. That time will be inside of the stadium. Greg Bedard will start it off with John Zannis, then Taylor and I after locker room and all that good stuff will be on the show. So make sure you keep it here, rate, review, and subscribe. Hope for a Patriots win, a fun Patriots post-game show rather after this, and a fun Patriots pregame show as well here today, Taylor. David Andrews joins the show. We got a bunch of fans coming in. That was pretty cool. So we'll continue to try and do this pregame when we can. So again, make sure you keep it here on Patriots Press Pass for all of the action. So again, we'll see you after the game for Patriots postgame. And until then, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and we will see you guys very soon. Peace out, everyone.